in, as his UFC cage fight is scheduled to go down tomorrow at the White House. Fighters were seen stepping on the scale and stepping up to each other during their weigh-in at Lincoln Memorial last night. Joining me now is Juanita Tolliver, a Democratic strategist, and Susan Del Percio, a Republican strategist. Both are MS Now political analysts. Susan, even some MAGA supporters have been underwhelmed by the Trump's America 250 event so far, especially after many headline artists dropped out of the concert series earlier this month. Is this UFC fight going to bring them back into the fold, or is this purely for the president's own amusement?
It's not going to bring them back into the fold over if they've already been disheartened with him, for sure, Rev. I mean, here's the thing. What people, great MAGA, Make America Great Again. That's what it stands for. They wanted a celebration of America, not a celebration of Donald Trump. So even with some of the folks who voted for him, not his core supporters, but people who supported him and consider themselves even MAGA are turned off by all of this. And the fact is let's face it, Donald Trump had to agree to signing a bad deal with Iran tomorrow to get his event off of the top line because it's a failure.
Juanita, the weigh-ins at Lincoln Memorial seemed unnecessary as they were offensive. There were barely any reference to American history, and many of the fighters aren't even from this country. After all of Trump and MAGA's talk about America's first, how are these visuals playing with the American people overall? And could this further tank Trump's standing with the public?
I mean, it already is, Rev. I saw a poll from Reuters a couple days ago that said only 16% of the country believes that this cage fight at the White House should even be happening. And that includes less than a third of Republicans and only 11% of independents. These are crucial voters that Republicans, especially those on the ballot in November, are going to be grasping at, trying to get them to the polls, trying to get them to excited. And this is the stunt that they think is going to do that. This is the stunt that Donald Trump is honestly hanging around the necks of Republicans, is going to drag them down at the polls, drag them down in November. Meanwhile, voters who are struggling with basic things like paying their rent, buying groceries, putting food on the table are looking at this like, oh, this is how you spend tens of millions of taxpayer dollars and force coordination across 7 federal agencies to pull this off. This is how you use our money. This is how you use your time instead of responding to the needs of the people. And Susan, I appreciate you pointing how MAGA is turned off by this as well. But I want to name this is also happening on Donald Trump's birthday. So while all those banners say Freedom 250, America 250, we know this is explicitly Donald Trump throwing a party for himself.
Now, switching gears, Elon Musk has officially become the world's first ever trillionaire, and his company SpaceX began trading in its NASDAQ debut on Friday. Now, Susan, this comes at a time when big tech has started to operate like its own governing system. Thinking back to Musk's own involvement in the federal government last year, people have also been feeling the threat to their known livelihoods following the exponential advancement of tech and artificial intelligence. Musk is touting his new trillionaire status, while Americans are also feeling financial blows from the economy. Could class resentment be emerging as a powerful dynamic in U.S. politics going forward?
Well, it already has been. I mean, we see that a lot when we start seeing Bernie Sanders and AOC out on their tours and, you know, getting rid of all the billionaires. I don't think, you know, it's interesting. I don't think people have a problem with people making a lot of money. Even Elon Musk making trillions of dollars. It seems, though, that they get special treatment to make that money. It's those special government contracts. It's the access that people have problems with. And I think you're going to see a lot of the billionaire class, the Epstein class. That's when people talk about the Epstein class with a lot of Trump's members of his own cabinet. They really associate that with access and on top of the horrific behavior, great wealth.
Now, Juanita, Musk has used his wealth to push his right-wing ideology here in the United States and for that matter, around the world, having helped amplify white supremacist rhetoric and demonstrations. Just this past week, Musk is accused by British politicians of stoking literal flames for his encouragement of anti-immigrant demonstrations in Belfast in Northern Ireland, some of which have been violent. Do we need to have more of a conversation about the influence of ultra-wealthy people have on our politics, and how can we do that when the billionaire and now trillionaire class are using their money to distort political rhetoric?
Rev, I think absolutely we should start talking about every dollar that they have as an instrument